This is Envision Self-Healing Podcast, episode number 41. Hi, I'm Will Fuller.
And I'm Richard Miller.
And we are the co-creators of EnvisionSelfHealing.com and are dedicated in helping you improve your eyesight and quality of life
by taking healing into your own hands. The topic of the week this week is Overcoming Barriers to Natural Vision Improvement, Part 2. And in the question of the week, it comes from an email that asks, I have astigmatism in my lens rather than my cornea. Will the astigmatism exercise still work?
So Richard, how's the world of self-healing been helping you out this week?
Well, I'm here to do a gripe this week. It's gripe week. It's gripe week.
We all look forward to that.
So I think you were here, actually, when the phone call came in from my insurance. I have a new insurance agent, health insurance agent.
Okay.
And this is a gripe about health insurance. But so I've moved down here from Washington State, and I'm paying exorbitant fees to my California version of that company.
Okay.
I guess we won't say their name, will we?
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping to... Well, this was like 2 years ago, right? We were doing the original website work.
Yeah.
And I was applying to yet another health insurance company, right? Mm-hmm. And we were in Golden Gate Park doing the videos that you guys all see on the website. Remember that?
Yeah.
And this other company solicited me to get health insurance. Health insurance. And they took all the information and then soundly rejected me.
Wow.
And all because of my optic atrophy,
mm-hmm.
which, of course, I was honest about because I am an honest guy.
Uh-huh.
And then I was scared into thinking that no one would ever take me, that there was sort of a blacklist out there of people who had been rejected. So I think there is something like that once you're rejected, you're on a database somewhere with a pre-existing condition. So I went back to the company that was basically charging me an exorbitant fee and started paying the exorbitant fee. Anyway, so that was 2 years ago. 2 years ago when we first started work on the website. Mm-hmm. Maybe not quite 2 years ago. Anyway, so recently I've gotten a new agent that says she can get me health insurance through the same company that I'm paying the exorbitant fee, but now applying as a new person. Crazy stuff. Here I am with a vision problem mm-hmm. that has no cure and no treatment.
No.
And yet I'm too risky for the insurance company to take on.
Huh.
So I'm in the middle of now going back to my ophthalmologist and have him write me a letter to say to my insurance company that no, he will cost you no money. So it's okay to insure him. So that's just my little gripe of the week about the American health system. And anyway.
And how and some of the troubles that we come across with our vision conditions. I mean, I can understand a little bit more with mine because it's a degenerative disease, but yours is a pretty static condition. You've had it since you were 15.
No, earlier, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the way your vision is going to get worse, I guess, is through underuse and presbyopia and
I run all the risks of any other normal mm-hmm. person, and in ironic part, because I'm doing eye exercises, I probably run less risk. I'm probably less likely to develop glaucoma, macular degeneration, all of those things. But of course, that doesn't enter their minds at all. So
if anything, they should say. We'll insure you, but you have to do your eye exercises.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it?
We want you to commit to going and doing your eye exercises every week, so that you don't have these future conditions.
Yeah. So I mean, it just sort of was an indicative of the way we look at disease and the way we look at. Well, it's the problem of alternative health often isn't covered too. So then it's cheaper to go to your doctor and receive normal treatment mm-hmm. than it is to try and seek something alternative. So, anyway.
It's a real tough conundrum, and hopefully America will start working on it.
Yeah, it is getting better. I mean, Obamacare thing will kick in for me. I believe in another year.
Oh, good.
So that could help anyway. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my gripe of the week. I'm done.
Well, I guess mine was a bit more positive.
Good.
This week, and the vision stuff still progressing on. Still noticing improvements with the periphery. It was interesting. I did do a test though. I do it sort of every year as my birthday. I sort of do a peripheral vision test.
Oh, good.
And I only sort of got halfway through it yesterday, and I was running a little bit late. I only do it once a year, and I was too busy to do it.
Right.
So I only got through half of it, but I kind of noticed that the results were going to be somewhat similar. I predicted my results. I did sort of do one, but I noticed, that last year I was sort of a bit disappointed. And you can imagine doing all this work, doing all these exercises, seeing these improvements, and then you do a test, and there's no improvement.
Right.
And it's, did I make all this up? Is this something that I've just done myself? Have I just convinced myself that eye exercises work? But then I realized that what I was testing was my inner periphery, the sort of the paramacula, where the RP is most evident.
Right.
Whereas where I'm seeing a lot of my vision improve is my outer periphery.
Right.
Where, which is what we say are the dormant cells that were waking up, not necessarily the ones, are directly affected by RP.
Right.
So I kind of realized that the only way I could really test that is to go and get a screen.
Oh, right. The dome, the white dome test, right?
Yeah. Or I did originally do a test where I sort of put lights in different corners and marked it out, but it just takes a lot of time, and it takes two people to do it. Yeah. So anyway, it's interesting. I was more interested this time round how I just wasn't really bothered by it.
By the results.
Yeah, I was like, okay, it's similar. And, last year I felt pretty deflated by it when I noticed it was very similar. But I guess it just shows it depends on how you look at these things. And also I just feel so much more confident with the amount of improvements that I've opened up. It was interesting the other day when our good friend Melissa Moody came and visited us. Those that don't know Melissa Moody, she was a practitioner she still is a practitioner in the Mir Schneider method, and she was working at the School for Self-Healing. And she's now moved back down into Texas to open up her own healing center. And she's also in the movie, the Happy movie. Head over to happymovie.com and check that video out. We highly recommend it. And she's in that because she was tragically run over by a truck. And, she's come back leaps and bounds. And, she's if anything, she's stronger than she was before. So anyway, she said that she noticed, and I could feel it as well, that I wasn't blinking enough. And... so Melissa is always good at doing this, and no matter how good your eyes feel, she can pick up on something that you might not be doing. And she's also very good at noticing if your face is more relaxed. So anyway, I realized that I sort of subconsciously I knew that, and I was purposely trying to open my eyes because I was trying to take in more periphery. Because those of you that have been listening over the last few months and weeks will know that I was talking about how I actually feel my eyelids strengthening. There's a shift there in my eyelids as they're trying to take in more information. They're trying to be a lot more active, and I kind of feel that they were becoming sluggish and weak over the years, as in particular in my left eye, which has the lesser vision. And it kind of makes sense because a lot of people that do have damaged in one particular eye, you can see that one eyelid is slightly droopier than the other. And that's because the brain isn't using that eye as much. So, the signals aren't as strong, and the muscle becomes, weak over time. Perfect sense. So anyway, I'm starting to feel now that my eyes are trying to open up. They're trying to take in the world around me. And it was so funny because I even knew it before she said it. And she said, well, you still need to blink a little bit more. And I said, I know. I said, it's funny, I kind of feel like it's part of a stage that I'm going to be like this for a little while, wait for the strength to build up, wait for my brain to become more confident with the periphery. I don't have to think about it as much anymore. It's just there now. And I think then I can start focusing a bit more on blinking a little bit, because blinking is just so important.
Yeah.
And we're highly recommended that people don't not blink. I try really hard to blink, and I'm really conscious about it.
But almost everyone that we see with a vision problem has a deficit in blinking.
Yeah.
It just comes with a compromised vision.
Yeah, it's sadly it's becoming more and more predominant in those that don't have eye conditions.
Yeah, true.
And those that stare in front of computer screens for long periods of time.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some severe cases of people out of Silicon Valley who hardly blink at all. Yeah. Anyway, sorry to detract from your story there.
No, and it's also just anxious people, and any of our listeners. Next time you know somebody that's anxious, or the next time you're anxious, either taking a look in the mirror or watch their eyes, watch their eyelids, and you'll see that their face sort of opens up. The eyes don't blink as much, and the face doesn't look as relaxed. It's very common, and I guess we're finding it's going to be an epidemic at some point here, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, so blinking is obviously very important. But it was interesting that it's part of my vision improvement.
I understand. Yeah,
piecing the two together, and I guess it's sort of why it's so important, like we say, to keep a vision journal and also play with different exercises and such. Because your vision is, forever changing, and your program is forever changing. So,
yeah, you are reminding me though. When I first started doing eye exercises, I had what was it? I guess it was an ID picture. A couple of years after I started doing the eye exercises, I looked at my ID picture. I think I'd just gotten a new one or something like that, and I had the old one too next to it, and I could see that my eyes were bigger. That before, when I was wearing glasses. My eyes were just these little slits.
Wow.
And then after not wearing the glasses and doing the eye exercises, my eyes were like twice as open as they were before.
Wow.
So it does happen.
Yeah. And you would never have known that if you hadn't have seen that direct comparison between the two.
Exactly.
It's amazing how we don't see our improvements. But that the body is definitely changing.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, let's move on to topic of the week.
And the topic of the week this week is Overcoming Barriers to Natural Vision Improvement Part 2. And we're going to be discussing procrastination and perfectionism.
So I think definitely being vision improvement specialists out of the two of us, I think one of us is certainly more qualified to talk on this one.
On both of them, really? Yes. Okay. Actually, I'm going to start with perfectionism because I think it actually leads to procrastination.
Okay.
For me, and astrologically, I am a perfectionist.
Okay.
So Virgos are very perfectionist.
You're not actually a perfectionist, but
astrologically I am, yes. No, and perfectionism, I mean, this is, partly when I was doing more photography, that was what I was, I would spend days, taking a still life photograph, things like that.
Yeah. And editing the videos.
That was weeks of editing the video, yeah. Anyway, so it's something that has been... Perfecting something has its positive qualities, shall we say, but it becomes an obstacle when it becomes a barrier, when it becomes, I'm not going to do it unless I am doing it perfectly.
Yeah.
And our good friend Mayor, he actually taught me something. He was actually instructing a mutual friend of ours who was a writer for him.
Okay.
And she was a perfectionist as well. And his slogan to her was, just do it 80%. All I want is 80% from you. And it was just enough to sort of break down that obstacle of perfectionism.
Yeah.
Because a perfectionist thinks everything has to be 100%.
Yeah, and I definitely feel, a lot of us do have this, this perfectionism side in us, which is great. It strives us to achieve great things, and many of the great things in this world might not exist if it wasn't for that. But I think what we're trying to say here is that when it becomes a barrier,
right,
is when we need to stop and take a look at ourselves and sort of say, okay, is this standing in the way? Is this stopping me from, maybe in the next 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, is this preventing me from getting better vision because I don't have this perfect,
right?
Right now this isn't perfect, so I'm not going to do it.
And then the classic way we hear this is from clients and people on the web. How long will it be till I have they either say crystal clear vision, or 20/20 vision? End of topic. No matter where they're starting from, like I want 20/20 vision. Yeah. End of topic.
And if it's longer than an hour,
I don't
want to know about it. Or a week or 2 weeks.
Well, it's true, and maybe they're interrelated there too, because they set up this absolutely perfect goal that they have to reach. Mm-hmm. And if they don't know they're going to be perfect, they don't even want to try. I think that's sort of behind the question. Yeah, right?
Why even bother wasting time trying to achieve, even if it's even if it was 2025, shy of 2020, which is still amazing vision, and to think that they could keep that for such a long period of time in their life and avoid other conditions as well, but they just don't know about it.
Yeah, say somebody's very myopic and they have maybe 20/400 vision without their glasses. Mm-hmm. And we say, well, you could, maybe they make it to 20/80, 20/60 without their glasses.
Yeah.
That's not good enough, though. It's the thing. It's like they've just made this huge progress, and they've gotten rid of their glasses, and maybe they have to wear them for driving or something like that.
They've stopped their vision from getting worse.
Yeah.
They've stopped retinal detachment. All the other issues that high myopia brings up, but it's not
good enough.
Not good enough.
Yeah.
And I think we also have this perfectionism on ourselves. If maybe we're not achieving, I certainly feel this. If I've been doing eye exercises now for 6 years. I've been working on my periphery, and I still might bump into things. I still might not shake somebody's hand. I'm still improving after 6 years. And the perfectionism, the perfective side of me says, why are you still doing these exercises?
Right.
You still don't have perfect peripheral vision. And then it's like, well, I'm not putting in enough time.
Right.
So I need to put in 3 hours a day, 4 hours, I'm not working hard enough. That's why I don't have perfect vision. And I guess sometimes we just have to take a step back and say, this is how it is. You have this condition that takes time to improve. And all the time my vision isn't getting worse. That was another thing I realized with the charts, is they're the same.
Right.
It's been 3 years and my vision should be worse. Even that in itself should be an achievement. But unless we're in that mindset, and I guess it's difficult as well with the eye exercises, because it's not necessarily accepted by the medical profession. Right. So you're always doubting it.
Yeah.
I guess if someone says, can I get 20/20 vision? Well, no, but you could get. I don't want to know about it.
Yeah, forget it.
It's just a scam. We don't want to hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. So it's certainly a real interesting one, and this is also why the eye exercises can be so difficult, because you're never just dealing with the eye. Like, I think it would be so easy if all we was dealing with in vision improvement is somebody's eyeball. Like, I think we could help so many conditions if the mind wasn't connected to the eye and our emotions.
Yeah, right.
Then I certainly think we could improve a lot more people's vision. Yeah. And if we could just move ego away a little bit and move the mind to the side, then a lot more people would just do the exercises and their vision would be a lot better. But certainly perfectionism is a tough one. It
is a tough one. And it leads to procrastination. The reason I brought it out first is it leads to procrastination often. At least in my case, I can see how my perfectionism leads right into my procrastination. And perfectionism, to a certain degree, sees this, how do I say this? It turns the goal into this massive, big thing you have to achieve. Like overinflates the goal. Mm-hmm. So then you feel like, it's useless to start. And that just leads to procrastination. So it's one of the major causes of procrastination. Mm-hmm. What's your other theories on procrastination?
Well, certainly a lack of motivation. And we really tried to cover that in the new Eye Exercise Express. Mm-hmm. And anyone that sees that, the product description page, we list a whole lot of information there on how we've really tried hard to battle the motivation, right? And really worked hard to take in as much information to see what barriers are to people's in their motivation. So I feel like we've done a really good job at trying to deal with that. I mean, eventually, again, you know, it kind of comes down to the individual. You know, we can do as much as we can do. You know, we can only do so much. To try and motivate people to do the exercises. But I guess unless it's sort of sorted in your head, or you know, you've got the right frame of mind to do the eye exercises, then it doesn't really matter what anybody says. If you don't think these exercises they're not going to work. That's just how it is. And we've really highlighted over the last few weeks how important motivation really is, because if you don't have it, then you just don't do the exercises. And of course, that is procrastination. And I think one thing that people can do, which sounds scary, is to try and be honest with themselves. If they could maybe make a list, 2 or 3 things, why are they procrastinating? Why aren't they doing the exercises? One could, you know, obviously time, but one could be as you start getting into the real cracks of it, of why you're procrastinating, why aren't you doing the exercises, and you can start unearthing some interesting.
And this is where you're getting back to the I wish our eyes weren't connected to our brains and our emotions, because I think what you're going to find is there's sort of little emotional and thought patterns that are getting in your way, that are creating the procrastination.
And I think a lot of people will find it's not just eye exercises.
No.
A lot of people will find, and I certainly for myself, not so much now, but in the beginning when I first started discovering exercises, I would pick up, you know, a little bit of spirituality, and I'd do that for like 2 weeks, and then that would go, and then I would do yoga for a couple of weeks, and then that would go down, and then I would do Tai Chi, and then, you know, all these different things, and eventually I was like, I'm not doing one of them properly. I'm doing all these little bits and bobs. And eventually I sort of just caved in and said, fine, you know, that's how it's going to be, and I would rather take little bits of something than nothing at all. But I sort of had to make a decision what was going to become first. And I guess we sort of talked about this before, about sort of doing a list of priorities,
priority list,
to figure out, you know, what is up there. And I realized that vision just had to be part of that. That had to be my main thing, you know, my main hobby, so to speak, and then start filtering the stuff around. And it's amazing because all that other stuff then helps the spirituality stuff, the other exercises, you know, everything sort of boosts what it is that you're trying to achieve.
I guess to summarize that, we might say that everyone's going to hit some level of procrastination, and that most likely there are some emotional or mental structures behind that. And one of the main ones would be perfectionism, to make your goals too big. And that one help would be setting up a priority list, at least, that shows you that eye exercises are important to you. So at least you're reminded that, you know, that's what's important to me. And
maybe even if it's not, maybe you have 2 or 3 other things that are important, then fine. You know, maybe just do 10 minutes a day, you know, 10 minutes of palming or some sort of eye exercise a day. Get that other stuff done if it's something that can be achieved, and then come back to the exercises. There's no, you know, if that's something that's going to get you to do the exercises in the long run, then, you know, that's great. And the biggest thing here with the eye exercise is that it's about accumulation. You know, you could do eye exercises for 15 hours a day, every day for a month. But if that's all you do out of your whole life, then you're not really going to get good results out of it. So as long as you're doing something and it's accumulating over time, then that's where people really start seeing their improvements. And that's, you know, why people like ourselves, you know, you've been doing the eye exercises for like 15, 20 years. I've been doing them for, you know, 6 years now. And the more I do this work, the more it encourages me to actually do my exercises. So that helps. But it's certainly, you know, one of those things that instead of just ignoring, just like we tend to do, because it's easy to do, then it's a good time when you're starting something new to say, right, okay, this ends now. What is causing procrastination? Right. And then let's work on it.
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, let's move on to question of the week.
And the question of the week, it comes in an email that says, I have astigmatism in the lens rather than the cornea. Will the astigmatism exercise still work?
And this is really interesting, and I'm glad this individual picked up on this, because a lot of what we talk about on the when we do the astigmatism exercise is we talk about how the exercises help shape the cornea, reshape the cornea.
Right. Oh, one detail on this question as well, I forgot, is this person has presbyopia as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just, I hope he doesn't mind us saying, he's just turned 40, and, you know, he's had great vision other than astigmatism, 0.75.
Yeah.
But he's starting to notice now that his vision is deteriorating with the presbyopia and also with the astigmatism. So he was asking, you know, whether the astigmatism exercise still helps those that has an astigmatism in the lens.
Right.
And we can certainly understand why he would say that. But we do say in our literature, probably more of our more, not private literature, but more in our products, we talk about the exercises in so much more detail.
Right.
And in particular in the Express, we talk about how it's helping the mind, you know, the brain side of the astigmatism and the physical side of the astigmatism.
And we focus more on, I think both on the website and in Express, we focus more on the cornea because it's just a simpler model to present. Yeah. I mean, we do say it can be in the lens or the cornea, but it's easier to visualize it. It's simpler to say it's in the cornea.
Yeah.
But it can be in both places. And it's the same phenomenon. It's a misshaping of a curvature of either the lens or the cornea. So this gets to the theory of why the exercise works, which we cover in, we cover all over the place. But and we come right out and say there's two schools of thought of why the astigmatism exercise works. One is the brain adapting, and sort of like a software fix, the way you can sharpen an image in Photoshop or something like that. Or it's actually reshaping the curvature of the cornea, and in this case, could it reshape the curvature of the lens? So those are the two schools of thought. And I guess we kind of think, well, maybe both are going on.
Yeah. And of course, with everyone, you know, we just don't know. We don't have that little microscope in somebody's eyes, seeing how it is. But I think what's important is for when we come up against, you know, questions like this as individuals when we're doing the exercises, is to see if the exercises work.
Right. I mean, actually, when I do the astigmatism exercise, I can see it right away. So it wouldn't take this guy more than, well, maybe it would take more than one time, but it didn't for me.
I know with me it's different.
Is it?
I don't see as quick results
okay.
with the astigmatism.
All right.
So, but we would certainly recommend that this individual, you know, he was saying how there isn't anything else out there that can really help this. It's just to spend the next 6 months, just say, right, I'm going to do January, you know, through 6 months, doing these exercises, do the program, and I'm going to see if these astigmatism exercises can help me. Instead of us telling him whether they help or not, it'd be great if he could tell us whether it's helped him or not. And, you know, do the exercises and see. And if they didn't work, then, you know, he's back where he was previously, which is, you know, is not off any worse.
Right.
But if it helps and it works, well then fantastic. He's improved his astigmatism.
Well, and I guess we would also recommend he do the presbyopia charts exercise from the website. Yeah,
this is sort of where we get into a little bit more in depth into our work, that it's not just about improving the particular symptom of that condition. You're helping the whole visual system.
Right.
And for this individual, you know, he can improve his presbyopia where he doesn't have it anymore. You know, that's certainly a more simpler than the astigmatism.
Yeah.
So even though, you know, that he's still spending a lot more time and it might be a slower process to get rid of the astigmatism, at least for now, he can get rid of his presbyopia.
Yeah.
And certainly for a lot of us, when we hit this stage of vision deterioration, it's a very scary time for us that we're losing our vision. You know, and that tends to be, unfortunately, with a lot of health conditions, when people finally decide to work with themselves I was having this discussion yesterday with my client that it's amazing that vision seems to be the last point where somebody says, okay, I need to get rid of this diabetes, or I need to lower my blood pressure, or, you know.
For the sake of vision.
Yeah, it's like, you know, we could have back pain, neck pain, we can have chronic headaches, we could not sleep at night, all this stuff.
If your vision starts to go, you start to
stress.
pay attention.
But
interesting.
As soon as you start losing it, I'm going blind, I'm going to need to go get this sorted.
Yeah.
So you get a medicine. Sorry, nothing we can do. Well, you can have LASIK, but it could make you worse. And then that's when. So unfortunately, we tend to get people at the end. And we would much rather have people at the beginning.
Maybe that's what we're trying to do with the website.
So much easier. Is to prevent. It's a prevention instead of last resort.
Yep.
But certainly that this. You know, that he's hit this point, he's noticed that his vision's going, he's had great vision most of his life, and now it's starting deteriorating, and now he wants to work on it. So the problem is the more anxious we are, the worse our vision gets. The stronger prescription glasses we get, which exacerbates his presbyopia or whatever condition you've got, and it's a spiral. So what's so exciting about this work is you can just stop it. You know, wherever you are, start doing the exercises, and you'll start reversing it in the other direction, I guess.
And the advantage he has is he's only 40 or 45.
Exactly.
So the presbyopia hasn't advanced as much yet.
Yeah, and certainly when people start wearing their plus lenses, that's when it starts solidifying the condition that much more. The same with pseudomyopia. So if you can nip this in the butt from the beginning, then you've got a higher rate of success.
And actually he has only 0.75 astigmatism, which isn't terrible. So he's actually got a good chance on both of them.
Yeah. So certainly by getting rid of the presbyopia, I think it's going to take a big sting out of this anxiety that he has of losing his vision. And then he can certainly take the astigmatism program a lot easier, and he's more likely to do it over a longer period of time. What we were talking before about the perfectionism. You know, he would do 2 weeks of astigmatism exercise. Well, I still have astigmatism. And then start searching the internet for something else. That's going to help. So certainly by removing the anxiety.
I just thought of one more point. Sorry. If the email talks a lot about contact lenses, so I'm guessing he's trying to not wear glasses. And I guess our last piece of advice is do the astigmatism exercise, and then if you need correction in order to drive or something like that, get glasses. Just give up on the vanity thing and wear the glasses so that you can take them off easily. So
and the more you get used to being with the astigmatism and working with the astigmatism, again, it takes that sting out of it. And it's just so much more easier to function with. And of course, the more you work with the condition, then the more likely you are to improve it. Okay, great. Well, we hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. If you hadn't had a chance to check out already, you can head over to our website at envisionselfhealing.com and see the brand new Eye Exercise Express. Just go over to the product section there and you will see the Eye Exercise Express. We're pretty excited about that, and we've been getting some great results and feedback from it. So thanks to everybody for sending us all those great positive emails, and we look forward to certainly hearing from a lot more out of you on how you're actually using it and getting the benefits from it. If you want to find out just a little bit more information about eye exercises themselves and some of the basics behind it, then you can find a free ebook on our website. It's called A Modern Day Guide for Improving Eyesight, and just head over to envisionselfhealing.com and you'll see how to get your hands on one of those. You can also check us out on Facebook by looking up Envision Self Healing, and go look up our Facebook fan page. And you can also check out our Twitter accounts. Both Richard and I are there on Twitter. And indeed, if you're watching this on YouTube, then just click the subscribe button and you'll be able to get one of these sent to your computer every week. And also on iTunes, subscribe on iTunes, and to be sure that you're not going to miss the next episode. So good luck with your eye exercises this week, and happy healing.
And have a good week.